I'm Margaret Chen, 78 years old. When my son died in a car accident, his wife Laura immediately tried to kick me out of my own home, the house I'd owned for 40 years. She claimed my son had secretly given her the deed. Laura thought I was a confused old woman who wouldn't fight back. But I'm a retired real estate attorney who built $1 million property empire. This is how I exposed her lies and left her with nothing. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you never miss revenge stories like this. My name is Margaret Chen and I'm 78 years old. I'm a widow who lost my husband 15 years ago. My son David was everything to me. My only child, my pride, my joy. David married Laura 5 years ago. From day one, I knew something was wrong. Laura was 20 years younger than David, beautiful but cold. She never worked, spent David's money freely, and treated me like an inconvenience. I lived in a beautiful 4-bedroom house in San Francisco that I'd owned for 40 years. My late husband and I bought it in 1985 for $180,000. Today it's worth $2.8 million. This house was my life's work, my retirement security. David lived with Laura in their apartment downtown, but Laura constantly hinted she wanted my house. "Mum, this house is too big for you. You should move to a retirement home. David and I could use this space," she'd say during every visit. "Laura, I'm not going anywhere. This is my home," I always replied firmly. Then 6 months ago, tragedy struck. David died in a car accident. He was only 45 years old. I was devastated. My only son, gone forever. At David's funeral, Laura barely cried. She was on her phone constantly, texting someone. I found it strange, but assumed she was in shock. 3 days after we buried my son, Laura showed up at my house with a lawyer and papers. "Margaret, David gave me this house before he died. Here's the deed transfer. You have 30 days to move out." I was shocked. "That's impossible. David would never do that without telling me." Laura smiled coldly. "David knew you were getting old and confused. He wanted me to have security. This house is mine now. Leave or I'll have you forcibly evicted." The deed she showed me looked official. It was dated 2 months before David died. It showed David transferring the house from my name to Laura's name. My signature was on it, supposedly giving consent. "I never signed this," I said, my hands shaking. "You're old, Margaret. You probably forgot. Now get out of my house." Laura's lawyer, a sleazy man named Rick Powell, spoke up. "Mrs. Chen, this is a legal deed. If you don't vacate voluntarily, we'll file eviction proceedings. At your age, fighting this in court could take years. Do you really want that stress?" I was terrified. Could I have signed something and forgotten? Was I really losing my mind? But then my legal training kicked in. Before I retired at 65, I was a real estate attorney for 40 years. I'd handled thousands of property transfers. Something about this deed felt wrong. I didn't tell Laura, but I immediately called my former law partner, Susan Martinez. Susan was 62 and still practicing real estate law. "Susan, someone is trying to steal my house. Can you examine this deed?" Susan came to my home that same evening. She studied the deed carefully under a magnifying glass. "Margaret, this is fake. Look here. The notary stamp is a photocopy, not an original impression. The signature doesn't match your handwriting. And most importantly, there's no record of this transfer at the county recorder's office. Real estate transfers must be recorded to be valid. This was never recorded. So Laura forged the entire thing. Yes, and it's fraud. We need to act fast." I also discovered something shocking. Laura had a boyfriend, a man named Tyler who she'd been seeing for 2 years, even while married to David. I found text messages on David's old phone that Laura didn't know I had. Laura's messages to Tyler: "Once David is gone, I'll get his mum's house. It's worth millions. We'll sell it and live like kings." Tyler's response: "Can't wait, baby. That old lady won't know what hit her. They'd been planning this." Laura had married David to get access to my house. My son had died, and within days his wife was trying to steal everything. I didn't confront Laura immediately. Instead, Susan and I set a trap. Susan contacted the district attorney's office with evidence of the forged deed. They agreed to investigate but wanted to catch Laura in the act. I called Laura and pretended to give up. "Laura, you win. I'm an old woman. I don't have the energy to fight you. I'll move out next week." Laura was thrilled. "Smart choice, Margaret. I'll send movers to help you pack." But Susan had already filed a restraining order preventing Laura from entering my property. We also installed hidden cameras throughout the house. The next day, Laura and Tyler showed up with a moving truck, even though I hadn't moved out yet. They were going to steal my belongings and claim the house immediately. The cameras caught everything. Laura and Tyler walking through my home, discussing which furniture to sell. Tyler saying, "That old hag made this too easy. We'll flip this house for $3 million. Laura laughed. David was so stupid. He never knew I was using him to get to his rich mommy. They didn't know police were outside watching the live camera feed. The police burst in while Laura and Tyler were loading my furniture into their truck. "Laura Williams and Tyler Brooks, you're under arrest for fraud, forgery, attempted grand theft, and elder abuse." Laura's face went white. "What? No, this is my house. I have a deed." The detective held up the forged deed. "This is a fake. The real owner is Margaret Chen, who never transferred this property. You forged her signature and created a fraudulent deed. That's a felony," Laura screamed at me. "You old witch! You set me up." "No, Laura," I said calmly. "You tried to steal my home while I was grieving my son. You forged legal documents. You committed crimes. I just documented everything." The police also found evidence that Laura had been drugging David before his car accident, sleeping pills mixed in his coffee to make him drowsy while driving. She'd planned his death. What started as property fraud became a murder investigation. Laura's trial lasted 3 months. The evidence was overwhelming. The forged deed with the fake notary stamp, the text messages planning to steal my house, the camera footage of Laura and Tyler admitting they'd used David, the toxicology report showing sleeping pills in David's system the day he died. Laura was convicted of fraud, forgery, attempted grand theft, elder abuse, and second-degree murder. The judge sentenced her to 25 years to life in prison. "Mrs. Williams, you married a man to gain access to his mother's wealth. You drugged your husband, causing his death. Then you tried to steal a home from a 78-year-old widow using forged documents. You are a danger to society." Tyler got 15 years as an accomplice. I kept my house. Every room still holds memories of my late husband and my son. Laura tried to take that away, but she failed. I'm 78 years old. I'm a retired real estate attorney. I'm a widow and a grieving mother. But I'm also a fighter who used 40 years of legal expertise to protect what was mine. Laura thought my age made me weak. She learned that experience is power, and justice always wins.